It started that night.
You drive long enough through the desert and the road starts to feel alive. It hums, it whispers, and sometimes remembers. I've been sheriff of Claymore County for 15 years, a quiet patch of dust and rock in southern New Mexico. Population just under 5,000. Not much happens out here. A few drunk fights, the occasional stolen truck, maybe a rattlesnake call until that summer, August 2021. Heat waves rolled over the asphalt like ghosts. Cars broke down left and right, but one stretch, a long empty line of highway past mile marker 313, started showing up in every report. Flat tires, engine stalls, missing travelers. At first we thought it was random. Then the pattern showed up. Every incident happened at night, and every driver said the same thing. There was someone on the road, waving me down. The first was a trucker, name of Ellis Moore. He said he saw a woman in white standing by the mile marker, barefoot, arms covered in something dark. He stopped to help, got out, and the woman was gone. But his passenger door was wide open. 2 nights later, a tourist couple from Oregon reported the same thing. Said they saw a woman waving them down, crying for help. The man pulled over. His wife told him not to. And by the time he stepped out, the woman had appeared behind their car. When he blinked, she was gone. I'll be honest, I don't buy ghost stories. I've seen how the desert plays tricks on people. The heat, the isolation, the silence. But I do believe in patterns. And when I noticed that mile marker 313 kept coming up, I drove there myself. It was around 11:30 p.m. when I pulled up. The night was still, moon hanging low over the red dunes. My headlights fell across the old sign. Crooked bullet holes in the steel, 313 barely visible through the rust. I stepped out, flashlight in hand. The air smelled of burnt rubber and sagebrush, and underneath it, something faint, sweet like perfume. I walked about 50 yards down the shoulder, scanning the dirt. That's when I saw them, shoe prints. Small, delicate like a woman's, leading off the road and into the sand. Then what a whisper. Please. Stop! It came from behind me. I spun around, light flashing across the highway. Nothing there. Just empty road stretching for miles. I started back toward my car, and that's when I saw her. A woman standing in my high beams, maybe 30 feet ahead. Long black hair, white dress, barefoot. Head tilted like she was listening to something far away. "Ma'am, are you hurt?" I called out. She didn't answer. "Ma'am, I'm Sheriff Reese, Claymore County. Are you alone?" She took one step forward. Slow, jerky, like her knees didn't work right. Her face was pale, almost gray, and when the wind hit her hair, I saw something on her shoulder. Dark stains smeared down her arm. Blood. I reached for my radio. "Dispatch, I've got a possible 1052 near marker 313. Female, mid-20s, appears injured. Static. No response. When I looked up again, she was gone. The road was empty. Then my cruiser door slammed shut. I pulled my gun, ran to the car. The driver's seat was empty, but the passenger door was open. The radio light flickered and a soft voice whispered through it. My own voice repeating, "Ma'am, are you alone?" The sound looped again. Louder, the engine started by itself. That's when I saw her reflection in the side mirror, standing right behind me. I turned, aimed the gun. Nothing. The air was colder now, sharp enough to sting my lungs. My flashlight died, beam cutting out completely. In that darkness, I heard it again. Soft footsteps moving around the car. Then a whisper near my ear. "You stopped for me once before." Every hair on my neck stood up. I jumped into the cruiser, slammed the door, floored the gas. Tires spun, kicking up sand. I didn't look back. When I hit the county line, everything came back. Radio static cleared, lights steadied, engine temperature dropped. Like nothing had happened, but something had. When I got back to the station, I checked the logs. No call had gone through from my radio that night. No record. I tried sleeping but couldn't. That whisper kept looping in my head. You stopped for me once before. Stopped for her once before. I didn't understand. Until I pulled the archives. Back in 2012, a local woman named Hannah Pierce went missing on Route 17. Same stretch of highway. Right near 313, her car broke down. A deputy stopped to help. But while he was changing her tire, she stepped into the road. Right into the path of a semi. The deputy on scene at the time. The report said she died instantly. Open casket wasn't possible. I hadn't thought about that night in a decade. But when I looked at the old photos, the blood, the headlights, something twisted in my gut. The way her dress looked. The perfume she wore. The same faint scent from the road. The next night I drove back. I don't know why. Maybe guilt. Maybe I needed proof I wasn't losing my mind. It was 2 a.m. when I reached the marker again. Same sign, same silence. The moonlight fell across the asphalt like silver paint. I stopped the car, stepped out, and whispered, "Hannah." The wind picked up, soft at first, then stronger. The desert began to hum, a low vibration under my boots. Then I saw her. 50 feet away, standing in the exact same spot she'd died. "Hannah," I said, voice shaking. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." She raised her hand. The light hit her face. Her mouth was gone. Just smooth skin where her lips should have been. Her head tilted. The sound came from inside my car radio again, my own voice. "Ma'am, are you alone?" Then her voice answered through the static. "Not anymore." The headlights flickered and the road behind her filled with silhouettes. Dozens of them, all standing still, all facing me. Drivers, truckers, travelers. Every person who'd stopped on this road, their faces blurred, hollow eyes catching the moonlight. One by one, they stepped forward. I ran, jumped into the cruiser, started the engine. Nothing. Dead. The radio burst with static again, screaming like feedback. I hit the gas anyway. Tires finally caught, car jerked forward, and I tore down the road, mile marker 313 fading in the rearview mirror. When I reached the county line again, everything went silent. No ghosts, no whispers, but on the passenger seat, there was something new. A small, dirt-covered mile marker sign. Fresh paint, number 314. That number doesn't exist on any map. And yet, when I checked the highway the next morning, a new sign had appeared where mine ended. Mile marker 314. No one could explain it. State Road Department said there was never supposed to be one. But now, every few weeks someone goes missing past that point. They always say the same thing before their phone cuts out. There's someone waving me down, and I swear, every night when I drive home past the old highway, the mile markers count wrong. They stop at 312, skip 313, and then there's one I've never seen before, brand new, silver, perfectly clean. And sometimes, when I slow down near it, I see someone standing there, white dress, bare feet, waiting. I've worked as a sheriff for over 15 years in Madison County. I've seen car crashes, drug busts, domestic fights, and the occasional bear wandering through town. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for what I saw on Route 74 in the fall of 2019. That night, the sky was clear and the moon hung low, yellow and heavy. It was one of those slow nights where you almost wish for trouble just to stay awake. Around 2:43 a.m., dispatch called in a report. A car stranded on the side of Route 74. The caller sounded confused. Said he saw a woman waving for help, but when he pulled over, she disappeared into the woods. I was closest to the area, so I responded. When I reached the spot, the guy's car was still there. Hazard lights blinking like dying fireflies. He was shaking, mid-30s, local farmer. Said he saw the woman about 5 feet tall wearing what looked like a hospital gown. Her hair was long, black, matted with mud. He swore she looked right at him before vanishing behind the tree line. Now, Route 74 runs along the old Pinefield Psychiatric Facility. Burned down in 1997. People love to tell ghost stories about it, but I've been there plenty. Nothing but bricks and bad memories left. Still, I grabbed my flashlight, called for backup, and went into the woods. It was quiet. Too quiet. No crickets, no wind. The smell of burnt wood hit me. Faint but sharp, like someone had just lit a match. I followed a narrow path down a small hill until my beam caught something white. A piece of cloth hanging from a tree branch. I moved closer. It was a torn strip of a hospital gown. Fresh. "Ma'am, this is Sheriff Cole," I called out. "Are you hurt?" No answer. Just the faint sound of breathing, but not mine. I froze. The sound came from behind a tree. Slow, wet, ragged. I circled the trunk, light raised, heart pounding, and there she was. A woman crouched on the ground, her face buried in her hands, trembling. I could see her shoulders jerking like she was sobbing. "Ma'am?" I said again softly. When she looked up, there were no eyes. Just black, empty sockets and dripping with something dark. Her mouth stretched into a grin too wide for her face. She whispered in a broken rasp, "You shouldn't have come back." I stumbled back, nearly dropping my light. She stood twisting her neck like it was broken in 3 places and started walking toward me. No sound, no footsteps, just moving. "Stop right there," I shouted, pulling my gun. But my hands were shaking. She stopped. Not because of the gun, because someone else stepped behind her. A man. No, not a man. Or not anymore. His body looked half-burned, skin melted to the bone, wearing a charred sheriff's uniform. My uniform, my knees almost gave out. It was like looking into a mirror from hell. "Route 74 never closes," he whispered in my voice. "You never left." And then the woods lit up. Flashes of blue and red lights, dozens of them. But there were no cars. No sound of engines, just lights floating in the trees. I fired once, twice. And suddenly, it was gone. Everything, the woman, the man, the lights. Backup arrived 15 minutes later. They found me standing in the middle of the road, gun in hand, shaking, yelling for them to get the lights out of the trees. But there were no lights. The only thing they found was a burned sheriff badge, mine, buried in the dirt near the woods. The weird part? It wasn't my current badge. It was the old design, the kind we stopped using in 1997, the same year Pinefield burned down. I tried to laugh it off, blame stress, fatigue, whatever, but for weeks, my dashboard cam kept glitching every time I drove past Route 74. One night, it froze completely and played a 2-second static clip of me standing in those woods, holding someone else's flashlight. They say Pinefield had its own sheriff once, a man who went missing during the fire. They never found his body. Maybe they did now, and maybe he found mine too. I used to think the mountains were peaceful, safe. Now I know they're quiet because they're listening. My name's Laura Keene. I've been sheriff of Silver Ridge, Colorado, since 2013. Small mountain town, population barely 2,000. Most of them retirees or hikers who wanted to escape city life. It's the kind of place where we still wave at strangers, where the biggest crime used to be someone's dog chasing a deer. Then came the light. It started one December night, 2018. The snow had fallen all day, thick, heavy, muffling every sound. Around 10:30 p.m., dispatch radioed, "Sheriff, we've got a 1050 on Old Quarry Road. Looks like a hiker's vehicle left overnight." That wasn't unusual. People left their cars all the time when they went trail hiking. But when I arrived, something felt off. The car, an old Subaru, was still running. Doors locked from the inside. Engine idling, headlights dim under the snow. No footprints anywhere. I circled the car twice. The inside was clean except for one thing, a folded piece of paper taped to the steering wheel. It read, "If you see the light, don't follow it." That was all. No name, no number. I looked around, just snow, trees, silence. I shut off the engine and radioed for a tow. Then I drove home thinking maybe it was just a lost hiker's note. But that night, I woke up around 3 a.m. to the strangest thing. My living room was glowing. A cold, white light seeped through my window blinds. Not moonlight. Too bright, too steady. I peeked outside. The entire forest line behind my house was glowing, like someone had strung 1,000 lanterns between the trees. It wasn't flickering. It was pulsing, and every pulse, I could feel it in my chest, like it had a heartbeat. I grabbed my coat, my flashlight, and my sidearm. The temperature had dropped to 10 below, my breath fogging like smoke as I walked into the snow. The light didn't move, didn't fade, just hovered low, about shoulder height, stretching deep into the woods. I walked maybe 50 feet before I saw them. Footprints. Bare humans, small, leading toward the light. I followed. Every few seconds, the light pulsed again. Each time it did, the trees shifted, not like wind, like they were bending slightly toward it. Then a whisper. "Laura." I froze. It was my name. I shone my flashlight and nothing. Just snow and mist. Then the light dimmed, focused into one single bright point ahead. A silhouette stood in the middle of it. Tall, still, arms at its sides. "Who's there?" I yelled. No answer. I took another step. The snow under me cracked, soft but deep. I could smell something. Not blood, not rot, just cold metal, like ozone after lightning. Then the figure spoke. Soft, wrong, like someone trying to imitate my own voice. "You left me." The dark, and the light went out. The forest went silent, not even wind. My flashlight flickered, then died completely. The next morning I woke up in my driveway. My boots soaked, car door open. I had no memory of walking back. For days I tried to forget. Told myself it was stress, sleepwalking, the isolation. But Silver Ridge started changing. Within a week, 3 people went missing. 2 hikers and a local electrician named Brent Dalton. His wife said he'd gone outside to check the strange light near the tree line. Never came back. The search team found his jacket, flashlight, and radio. No footprints leading away. Just a melted circle of snow, perfectly round, about 6 feet wide. And in the center, his radio still playing static. I started keeping a log. Every night, the same time, 3:07 a.m., the power grid in that part of the county flickered off for exactly 45 seconds. Always 45 seconds. I checked with the state grid operator. No faults. No line surges. Nothing on their end. Then came the recording. One of my deputies, Marissa, had set up a wildlife camera on Old Quarry Road. When we checked the footage, it was all normal until 3:07 a.m. Then the snow started glowing again. Through the haze, you could make out something moving. Not walking. More like drifting, slow and deliberate. Then the camera mic picked up something that still makes my stomach turn. It wasn't words. It was breathing, close, deep, wet. And then clear as day, my own voice. "If you see the light, don't follow it." The same words from the note in the Subaru. The next morning, the camera was gone. Only thing left was the metal post, bent in half like a twig. I went back out there that night. I don't know why. Duty, maybe, or the same pull that makes a moth fly into flame. AM came. I parked my cruiser where the Subaru had been. Snowflakes like ash, my radio hissing softly. Then the light. It came from the forest again, same rhythm, same pulse. Only this time. There were 2, one close, one deeper in the trees. I turned on my body cam, left it running. My boots sank into the powder. Each step echoed too loud, like the snow was hollow. Sheriff Keene. My radio crackled, but it wasn't dispatch. It was that same imitation voice, the one that sounded like me. "Come into the light." I turned back toward the cruiser and froze. Someone was sitting in the driver's seat. I ran closer, gun drawn. My headlights reflected off the window, and I saw myself sitting there, same uniform, same face. Eyes black, smiling. Then the radio cut out and both lights flared, blinding, electric. When I woke up, it was morning. My cruiser was still there. Engine running, but the passenger seat was open. Door wide like someone had just stepped out. Body cam footage showed only static from 307 to 352. Then, one final frame before it ended, a bright flash and the faint outline of a face near the camera. My face. A week later, I resigned. Couldn't take the calls, the questions. I moved to Denver, started over. But every night, no matter where I am, at exactly 3:07 a.m., the room glows faintly white. Doctors say it's sleep paralysis. I say they've never been to Silver Ridge because sometimes, when it happens, I hear the radio again. My voice whispering. If you see the light, don't follow it, and something whispers back in the dark. Too late. I've been the sheriff of Cypress Parish for 12 years now. Small place, maybe 3,000 people, most living near the swamp. Folks hunt, fish, drink, and keep their heads down. The kind of town that pretends monsters don't exist, until one of them drags itself out of the water. It was August 2019, hot enough that even the mosquitoes were lazy. I got a call from Deputy Claire Rivers around 2 a.m. "Sheriff, you're gonna want to see this," she said. "Down near mile marker 12, Old Cypress Creek Road. That road runs along the swamp, black water on one side, thick trees on the other. No streetlights, just fog and the smell of rot." When I got there, Claire's cruiser was parked sideways across the road, lights spinning red over the mist. She looked pale as chalk. "Tell me," I said. She swallowed hard. "We got a vehicle in the creek. Doors open, blood on the seat, but no driver." The car was a silver pickup, half submerged in the black water. The door hung open, and a red trail ran down into the current. I grabbed my flashlight and crouched by the bank. "We run the plates. Registered to a local," she said. "Terry Boudreau. Works maintenance at the high school." I nodded. Terry was a quiet guy, maybe 30, barely spoke to anyone. Married, one kid. Never caused trouble. But what caught my eye wasn't the truck. It was the mud along the water line. There were footprints. Bare human, but they were backward, like someone had walked into the swamp heel first. I've seen drunks do weird things. I've seen people lost to grief, panic, madness. But that chilled me. We called search and rescue. They came out with spotlights and drones, combed every inch of the swamp for 12 hours. Nothing. But that night, Claire came to my office, her face white again. "Sheriff," she said quietly, "we found something else." She handed me a Ziploc bag. Inside was a strip of duct tape, covered in muddy fingerprints. On it, scrawled in thick black marker, "It followed me out." No one could explain it. 3 days later, Mrs. Boudreau came in crying, said her boy Eli hadn't come home from school. He'd told friends he was going to find his dad's light. We mobilized a full search. Helicopters, volunteers, dogs. The swamp was alive that night. Cicadas screaming, frogs croaking, thunder rolling in from the Gulf. We found his backpack near the same creek. Inside, a flashlight, an empty notebook, and a single Polaroid photo. It showed Eli standing in the woods, holding the camera at arm's length. Behind him in the dark trees, 2 small points of light like eyes glowing white. No reflection. No animal shape. Just light. I told his mother we'd find him. I lied. 2 nights later, the town lost power. Whole grid gone. No storm, no wind, just blackness. Around 3 a.m., my radio hissed alive. "Sheriff Ellison, you need to come out here." It was Deputy Claire again. Her voice was shaking. "I'm on Route 12. It's Terry. I think I found Terry." I sped there in minutes, gravel spitting from my tires. Claire's cruiser sat at the same bend by the creek. Her door was open, lights flashing weak in the fog, but she wasn't in the car. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped out, the night heavy and wet around me. "Claire," I shouted. "Where are you?" Something splashed in the dark. I swept the beam toward the creek and froze. A man stood waist-deep in the water, facing the trees. Naked, his skin pale, swollen, waterlogged. "Terry?" I whispered. He turned his head slowly. His eyes were pure white, no pupils. His mouth hung open, and a thick stream of swamp water spilled out, bubbling. I raised my gun. "Don't move." He smiled. Wrong, slow, like someone remembering how. Then he whispered in two voices overlapping. It followed me out. Before I could react, the water around him started to churn. Something rose behind him, tall, black, like a shadow made solid. No face, no shape, just a dripping mass, moving with a kind of sick rhythm. Terry sank beneath it like a puppet with its strings cut. The shadow rippled once, then began to crawl out of the water. I ran. Back to the cruiser, slammed the door, and floored it. My headlights hit something in the road. Claire. She was standing there, soaked, her uniform torn, eyes wide. I stopped, jumped out. "Jesus, Claire. What the hell happened?" She just pointed toward the swamp and whispered, "Don't look at it." Her voice wasn't right, too calm, too flat. Then I noticed her hand. It was shaking, and the skin along her wrist was peeling like wet paper. I reached for my radio, but she grabbed my arm. "Sheriff," she said softly. "He wants you to see it too." Her eyes flashed white. I don't remember much after that. When I came to, it was morning. My cruiser sat idling by the road, lights dead, radio fried. No sign of Claire. The water in the creek was still. The state police came later that day. They searched for both of them, found nothing but a line of prints in the mud. Bare feet, heel first again, leading back into the swamp. I tried to quit. Filed the papers. But the town wouldn't take no for an answer. Just stress, they said. "You've seen too much." Maybe they're right. But every few nights, when the power flickers and the swamp fog creeps close to my porch, I hear that same whisper through the trees, soft, wet, patient. It followed me out. And once, just once, I saw two small white lights outside my window. Not eyes, not reflection. They were watching. I shut off the lamp, closed my eyes, and prayed for morning. But deep down, I knew something true and awful. Terry never brought it out. It brought him back in.